What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing Bitcoin new highs coming. And if we get a perfect storm next week, there's this little thing called the Bitcoin conference, but there's stuff that's going to happen there that between now and then could see a new all-time high for Bitcoin, possibly as high as $80,000 coming before the end of July. What needs to happen? We're going to cover that and a whole lot more. Also in today's news, a figure that has been historically anti-Bitcoin might be changing his tune. What does that mean for you as a Bitcoin and crypto holder? We also are going to go through a lot of your favorite altcoins, just checking up what is happening on those charts. So you don't want to miss a single second of the show. Smash the like button right now. I also want to make sure before we get into our intro, if you are already subscribed, make sure you hit that notification bell so you do not miss a single update from the bros. If you're not subscribed, guess what you can do for the free price of free? You can hit subscribe. But if you want to watch the show first, go for it. Before we get all the details, though, we got to roll an intro. Yo, T-Shroom. How are you feeling today, my friend?
Better than I deserve, Tim. Better than I deserve. Getting a lot more faith in my Starlink connection, and
good.
We're moving, we're grooving. We're doing good.
Yeah, we noticed, everyone, that every time that T-Shroom opens a new tab while we're live, that is the creation of Pixelation Tim. Do one for us. Let's open a new tab, T-Shroom. Let's test Starlink out a little bit. Let's see if Pixelation Tim comes into play here early in the show.
Here we go. That was smooth.
All right. We're good?
Yeah.
I think we're good. I think Starlink holding it up. Go Elon and his team over there at Starlink for the win. Now, before we get into crypto, because crypto is making moves right now, not necessarily today. Today's actually going to be more red than green. We'll look at the bubbles here in just a couple seconds. T-Shroom, I'm wondering if you have the same experience as me, and I wonder if chat's the same place. Scrolling through Twitter right now, or now formerly known as Twitter, now called X, have you noticed, T-Shroom, that it's very hard to see posts about crypto? It seems like crypto posts, crypto X has been obliterated. Everything is political. Of course, we're getting close into the election season, but you would think there would be maybe a little bit of crypto sprinkled in. Are you having the same experience as I am? Put a 1 in chat if you struggle to find X. If you struggle to find crypto content on your X when you scroll. T-Shroom, what about you? Are you having that same problem?
I don't think that I've definitely noticed more political content. I will say that.
Absolutely, yeah.
But when I just refreshed X, the first thing I see, Tim, is actually a cool post by Dave Digital. Got the hashtag Merca.
Shout out to Dave.
Hashtag Bitcoin. Really cool there. So I would say I am seeing more political stuff, Tim. I've also tweeted recently, I've been seeing a lot of more stuff that I don't necessarily agree with politically, which is, almost want to say it's refreshing. Some people I would imagine it's probably pretty frustrating, but a lot of Bernie Sanders posts and like things like that, which is like, an interesting alternative perspective. I wonder if the X algorithm overcompensates in times of high volume in the political vertical, if it overcompensates and shows stuff that you would disagree with rather than just making an amplified echo chamber. Be interesting.
Now, I will say, T-Shroom, we're getting some feedback from people in chat. I think for a second, I don't know if it's both of our audio. I don't know if it's one of our. Someone's saying the audio got quiet. So we might have spoken too soon about Starlink. Anything showing on your end, audio-wise?
It all looks good to me.
I mean, yeah, on my end, everything is good. But here's the thing. We'll keep the opening of tabs to a minimum, T-Shroom, and only when we really need to. Hopefully, we don't have those problems. Let's get into the crypto content. Let us know in chat, is the audio back? Is everything good? We're to get into the show here, starting off with the crypto bubbles. As I said a little bit ago, a lot of red more so than green. Getting some feedback that it was just him for a second, but now we're good. All right, we're good with audio. A lot of red here today. A couple are in the green. For example, Mantle is up actually pretty well, 9.4%. Maybe we'll take a look at that one. Rune is up 5.9. Whiff up 8.8. But aside from those ones, Not a lot of green today. A lot of big red ones. It's, WorldCoin is down 13%. Notice that was one yesterday that actually had a pretty big upside movement, so it's not abnormal to see it compensate and come back down to reality. It's down 13%. FET is down 7%. It had a big day here as well. And I told you guys yesterday, I think we talked about this. One of the strategies that you can use is when you see a big gainer, sometimes the next day it adjusts and will go the opposite direction. So in the same breath, some of these coins that you see that are really large red bubbles, maybe there's an opportunity at hand for a long position. For example, Render down 9.2%. We'll take a look at Render today. Gala 8.7, Sheeb 9.2, FET 7.7, Brett. And you guys know I'm not necessarily a meme coin guy, but hey, opportunities are opportunities. Also XRP. We'll get into XRP. I told you guys, do not be surprised to see a fall back down on XRP back to 56 cents. Guess where I think the XRP price is sitting currently? We'll go there in just a couple of minutes. But first, let's talk about Bitcoin. And we're going to start off by doing some charting, but then get into some news that possibly could see the price of Bitcoin hit my projection a hair early. We talked about a big breakout on Bitcoin coming and seeing $82,000 Bitcoin before the end of the summer. Well, if the stars align and if everything goes correctly, maybe we might see that a little sooner based off of what could be happening at the Bitcoin conference 1 week from today. Stay tuned on that information. But let's take a look at what is happening in Bitcoin overall. Daily chart, we told you guys on the channel, do not be surprised to get some resistance just above 66,000. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought we'd get a little closer to about 66.4. So I was a little high. That's one of the reasons why this is a perfect example when you're looking to take profit. Just because you see a resistance level does not mean you should put your take profit right at that level, or for example, your shorting position right at that level. Usually it's good to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. Probably would have come in down at 66 even, and if that was the case, you would have been able to take profit on your long position or enter a good short. I also told you guys, do not be surprised to see Bitcoin fall back down to levels that we were just at here a couple of days ago. Back on the 16th, coming back down to around 62,400. You're going to see that's where the 4-hour smart trail is now camping out. Also, when we come down to the 1-hour chart, you're going to see this is the take profit and a strong order block here in play right down at that level as well. And then we'll continue on with a little more reason. Let's go to 12-hour here for liquidations for Bitcoin. You'll also see, if I zoom in for you guys, we got a fat stack of liquidations coming down to where? Just below 62,400. So still a lot of reasons to suspect we could go lower. I will say we're sitting right on top of the 1-hour smart trail. There's going to be a little bit of support right there, but we have set up a bearish breaker block. So I don't necessarily believe that the bottom is in. We're seeing some signs that we're getting close here on the 1-hour chart when it comes to oscillators, but not necessarily confirming it's over. I'm going to be looking for maybe some bullish divergence to come into play, and then also that touch of that order block. And then we go to the upside. But of course, when we go to that upside, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a beautiful thing because we are at the moment at the top side of this falling trading channel. This is a very, very bullish sign. And once again, the breakout target is going to be up here at 82,000. Why? Because if you go back to the opening of this formation and then move it over to a potential breakout spot coming our way more than likely soon, I think that we can make this breakout come. Keep an eye on some resistance above us. I don't think this is going to be major resistance, this breaker block. I think that rather 71 to 72 might pose an interesting opportunity for maybe some longer term holders that maybe bought a long trade way down here below 60K. There might be a couple people that take profit, but my overall theory though is this lower volume we've had on Bitcoin since way back in March, with the combination of not only the conference itself, but what's going to happen at the conference, we could see a lot of volume of the bulls coming back in and making a run up back here, not just to new highs, but up towards $80,000. Now, I am seeing a comment saying my stuff is going in and out, T-Shroom. You're still hearing me good? No flaws on your end?
No, I'm not seeing any indication that the volume is lower other than the chat. So bear with us, bros.
Okay.
Apologies.
Yeah, I we'll have to figure it out. I don't know why that is, but we're going to keep going on. It's time to transition now. We covered a lot of the TA that you need to know about Bitcoin. It hasn't changed that much. We've been calling it here pretty good for the last couple of days of what was going to happen. But now the question is, we've alluded to those stars aligning. What would it actually do? What would need to happen for a Bitcoin breakout to come within the next week? Let's go ahead and talk about that, T-Shroom. I think you're going to have some information for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, taking a look here, you can see some breaking news. Rumors growing that Orange Man will announce a Bitcoin strategic reserve policy for the United States next week. So that's coming next week. That could be very, very big. Definitely not a small potentiality there. This is one of the elements that needs to happen for the ARK Invest thesis of Bitcoin getting to $1 million per coin by 2030. So this is very, very bullish. Obviously, it is all hinging on this man here getting elected to the United States executive branch. He's done it before. Could he do it again? But he's definitely seen as the more pro-Bitcoin candidate. Tim, are you excited? What do you think is going to be specifically, what are going to be the specific details that are mentioned here next week from Orange Man?
Yeah, I'm interested to hear what he's going to say. I don't know if we actually fully know, but it would make a lot of sense that we have seen some of the rumblings and conversation starting that he might be leaning towards an aggressive Bitcoin policy. I think it's something that we should have that conversation here. We'll probably need to continue it in other places as well, but could we see him announce at the Bitcoin conference, pick up a lot of hype that his plans, once he gets elected, is to start the slow but needed process of backing US dollars with a firm currency, and that currency being Bitcoin? That would make not only the conference go absolutely berserk. I cannot wait to be in there just to hear and see the environment itself. But if he were to make that announcement, T-Shroom, it's not just the conference that would go crazy. Price would go berserk as people prepare. I mean, that's huge. It's going to be a hard thing to accomplish. I'd love chat. What's your guys' thoughts about the path to backing the US dollar with Bitcoin? But if that is his announcement, one way or another, whether it ends up being hard or easy, worldwide, people will be looking to scoop up Bitcoin in a heartbeat, because you know what has to happen if the American government does decide to back their currency with Bitcoin? They've got to purchase a boatload of it. And honestly, we talked about this on the channel before. Yeah, there's like $19 million in Bitcoin currently, but that's not really in circulation. In fact, conservative estimates, or dare I say aggressive estimates, have actually suggested that there might only actually be about 5 million Bitcoin circulating right now that really could be up for grabs. And the US, if they're going to back the current flow of money that we have in US dollars, they're going to have to get purchasing very, very fast. That volume is going to get hot and heavy. I'm talking about 82,000 before the end of July. But if that were to happen, look out for your cycle. That might be busted. If a major country, especially the United States, goes about trying to purchase enough Bitcoin to start the process of backing their dollar with it, we're talking about Bitcoin being in the millions but probably before 2030. Is it going to happen? That's a whole nother conversation. But even the hype of the possibility is going to be extremely, extremely massive in the next week. What are your thoughts about that issue, T-Shroom? Do you think it's even possible, let alone, despite what Orange Man says next week, possibility-wise, is it possible to start that process and get it done anytime soon?
Well, Roy Collins down in the chat said he might say something, but it would never actually happen, right? So there's a lot of reasons to suspect
kind of where
that
I'm leaning,
just because a politician says something doesn't mean that it's going to get written into law. Building a wall comes to mind. Repealing Obamacare comes to mind, right? Mm-hmm. It's, a lot got done under the Orange Man administration, 2020. But, it's one thing to say things, it's another thing to actually do it. I think it's very difficult, like going down to the bedrock of a global financial system and, putting a Bitcoin in there, right? It's complicated. There's going to be a lot that goes into it. There are a lot of smart and talented people, though, that I think are more than capable of making it happen. And I think with somebody like JD Vance being VP, I think with somebody like Vivek being a key player as well, I think it could be very, very bullish, especially if you get some people on board who weren't on board before. And this brings us to our next story here, Tim,
Okay.
which is this tweet here from Watcher.Guru. Said Orange Man considering JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon as Treasury Secretary, and he's changing his tune on Bitcoin and crypto. Jamie Dimon is changing his tune. For those of you who may have
Yeah.
read it as Donald Trump's changing his tune, it's Jamie Dimon that's changing his tune. There he is. Now, a little bit of context here. Jamie Dimon, this man, has been one of the most outspoken proponents against Bitcoin as an investment, right? He says it's very speculative, it's dumb. He doesn't really cut right into like any kind of sophisticated arguments about Bitcoin, but he's just kind of been the straw man, right? The guy who's against it, and he happens to be the CEO of JP Morgan, a very strong, powerful institution that is very influential. Bringing Jamie Dimon in as the Secretary of the Treasury. Previously in the Orange Man administration, you had Steve Mnuchin, who was a Goldman Sachs executive. I don't think he was a CEO. He might have been. But
Okay.
this wouldn't be that out of character for Donald Trump, because the previous Treasury Secretary was from another big, huge Wall Street firm. So it's in the cards. And the fact that we're even seeing that tweet means it's possible. But there's a lot of other
Yeah.
people who are similarly qualified. One person who wants to be in that seat is Gary Gensler. I don't think that we'll see Gary in the Secretary of Treasury seat.
No.
But yeah. So what do you think, Tim? Do you think that
Yeah.
regardless of how Jamie Dimon has changed his tune, do you think if he gets into the Treasury Secretary position, do you think that's bullish for Bitcoin at the end of the day?
Yeah, well, I know you kind of gave a little bit of a depth there, but I want to get a little bit more specific with the depth about Jamie Dimon.
Yep.
It's not just that historically he's been anti-Bitcoin. The last public appearance by Jamie Dimon when talking about Bitcoin, his words were literally, "If I was in politics, I would ban it." Right? So we're not just talking about a person who's been like, "Oh, Bitcoin bad, I don't like it." He literally said the words, and I say the word literally loosely because I don't know the exact quote, but it's the equivalence of saying, if I was in charge, if I was in the government, I would work to ban Bitcoin, right? So that's something people should remember. Now, I don't think Orange Man and his I was about to say posse, but his cabinet and his perceived cabinet, it would allow him to hire a man that is anti-Bitcoin, because that's going to be one of the largest platforms that Orange Man is using to get elected in this election cycle. But here's the other thing to think about. I mean, we don't know. Like, this is rumors coming out, but we were on a business call earlier today. So T-Shroom, Crux, and I, we talk a couple times a week. We plan things out. In case you guys didn't know, we don't just get on here every single day and wing it. We plan things. We have our business plan. It's just a good process. If you run a business, you probably should plan things, right? But I think that Crux, shout out to him in chat, I think he made a very interesting observation while we were talking. Orange Man has not talked publicly since Saturday, right? So we have not heard on a microphone, not counting the privately recorded phone call between him and RFK.
That's right.
We have not heard Orange Man speak. So where are these rumors coming from? Also, like I said, it's been a couple of months now. We have not heard Jamie Dimon speak on Bitcoin. So while I'm hoping, there's a part of me that hopes that this is truth, that it's going to come to fruition if he is the man hired to be the Secretary of Treasury, we don't know that this is actually definitely happening. It seems like it's something that's just rumor after rumor. We haven't heard Orange Man say this. We haven't heard Jamie Dimon saying this, but I will say, anytime a person who is an antagonist of anything flips their opinion, it's a very good thing for whatever that entity was. And speaking of Bitcoin, people that have flipped on it, let's just talk about a good list of people that have been very bullish for Bitcoin's price that used to be anti-Bitcoin. You guys ever heard the name Michael Saylor? The man who probably owns the most, the individual that owns the most Bitcoin in the world, except for Satoshi Nakamoto, who we don't even know who that person is. That man used to be anti-Bitcoin. At one point, Elon Musk was anti-Bitcoin. I don't know how much he owns personally, but we do know that Tesla, his largest company at the moment, holds a decent amount of it. Guess who else? We're speaking about Orange Man right now, running on the platform. Not even 2 years ago, he talked about how he was not a fan of Bitcoin. He liked the dollar, and he would do whatever he could to support the dollar. Well, guess what? All three of those men, and literally hundreds and thousands of other people have made the same decision. They're just probably three of the biggest names to do so. They're doing all they can in their power to make the future of this planet's wealth be backed in Bitcoin. And next week, we've said it, but we'll say it again for anyone just joining. If we hear at the Bitcoin conference that Orange Man's plan when winning the presidency is to start the long process of backing the US dollar with Bitcoin, whether or not it actually happens or not, it is going to be astronomical for the price in the moment. And again, I'll say it probably for the sixth time today, we could see new all-time highs for Bitcoin before the end of July. Speaking of, though, I want to make sure we also know that distinction, T-Shroom. Historically, just so everyone knows, historically, Bitcoin conferences have actually been found to be bearish for Bitcoin's price. We probably need to look at the exact dates. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. We'll look at the exact dates and correlation. But I can tell you, as long as I've been in crypto, it seems like we usually pump into the conferences for a considerable amount of weeks, and then during the conference we fall. Guess what's happening here more recently? Yes, we've had a pump over the last week, but we're falling right now. I think we still have a little further to go. We're not in any major rally whatsoever. Is 2024 a changing of the trend that instead of pumping into conferences and then falling, we actually remain neutral, and then based off of some crazy information that happens at the conference, we rally astronomically? It's just something I'm going to throw out there, that the trend is usually bearish, but things are a little different in this year compared to the past.
Yeah, I think crypto is always it's innate. Bitcoin is innately political, right? It's taking power away from the government in a sense, specifically the Federal Reserve, which is a branch of Congress, in theory. But what we may see at this event is a much more robust sense that crypto is political, right? There is a strong contingent of one side of the political aisle, and that is the GOP, the Republican Party, right? So this is and this shouldn't be news to anybody if you're paying attention at all. But this is gaining steam. I think crypto becoming political, it was always going to happen, and it was kind of sort of obvious. A lot of developers in Web3 are not conservative, not Republican in the United States, but a lot of the champions of Bitcoin, so to speak, are very conservative. And so it's not a super big surprise which side of the aisle is really championing Bitcoin now. But it's like what we were saying earlier. Politicians say a lot of things in the campaigns, and they get into the office, and maybe they just can't get it done. Maybe it's too complicated in the case of repealing Obamacare, or maybe they just don't want to do it, and they never were going to do it in the first place. So it is very complicated. It's unprecedented to my knowledge. It's unprecedented to back a currency with really anything other than gold or a cluster of commodities. So it will be very, very interesting to see how this is done. In my estimation, I think that they probably have some economic models for how they're going to roll this out. That's what's going to be presented in Bitcoin 2024, the event in Nashville. But it's gonna be in tandem. My prediction, it's going to be in tandem. It's not just going to be Bitcoin. It's going to be in tandem with gold and probably oils, like oil future contracts and maybe natural gas contracts. It'll be interesting to see if they back it with contracts or spot. I would imagine that they back it with spot. But and now that there's an ETF, there's a lot more very sophisticated Wall Street operators that are familiar with managing spot. For the U.S. government, it would be a big job where they can't make mistakes. So I think all the pieces are there. If the political will is there, which it looks like there is, with J.D. Vance being very much the engine that could on this one, I think that we could be looking at Bitcoin being a reserve currency, or backing the U.S. dollar, I should say, within the next 2 to 3 years. It's definitely not something that can be rolled out overnight, but it could potentially happen, and the political will is there. The technology is certainly there. It's just a matter of, is that what the people want? Because at the end of the day, both sides do have to agree in some sense that this is what we want. I see this being the kind of thing where it needs to happen over several administrations so that it's seen as a bipartisan effort.
There has to be a long-term plan for it to be effective. Again, yeah, we could not get it to back it within the next 4 years. But again, I want to remind people investing in prices going up doesn't always have to live in the world of reality. If there's a perception or a hype movement, price responds. Let's engage with some chat here before we check in on some altcoins, some of your favorite altcoins. We have a couple of super chats in here. First of all, Army Piper saying, for the record, Crux left town. Just saying. It must have been referencing, maybe he's referencing something in chat. I don't know. I don't get the reference, Piper, but I love you. Thank you for giving the super chat. Another OG here, Eric Wallen, member for 12 months with that purple signal right there. What good does our strategic reserve of gold even do? It's got some wealth to it, but yeah, I think that's a good question to ask, Eric. We're definitely not backing or making any wise business decisions with it. And again, could the Orange Man presidency change that? I'm not saying that they would dump all of gold, because I think that'd be a little foolish. I think you definitely want to stay, when you're that highly invested, a little bit diversified. But could we see a massive shift in the American government really trying to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible? He's also said on record that he wants to keep crypto inside the United States. He does not want countries like China or Russia or India or any of the BRICS nations getting a stronghold on the cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin. So whether or not we back Bitcoin or back the dollar with Bitcoin, I still believe that a Orange Man presidency would be extremely bullish for Bitcoin and the crypto prices. I want to reference some other chat in here, and there's been a couple people who say this. Oh, there we go. We spoke way too soon. I know that somebody said the audio is going in and out. T-Stream, are you opening new tabs?
I'm not. I don't know what's going on. So.
I see pixelated Tim. So
yeah, you're definitely pixelated, unfortunately.
Anyway, it'll clear up, everybody. We'll have it fixed hopefully sooner rather than later. But the thing I want to reference in chat, I see a lot of people saying, or I've seen a couple people say, I'm not going to say a lot. I've seen a couple people reference saying, no, this conference is going to do the same thing that the past conference has done. We're going to rally into the conference and then dip afterwards. Now, here's something I want to pontificate with you guys and have you chew on a little bit. Why? Why in the past has the Bitcoin conference been a rally into the event and then sell the news? I want you guys to think about this critically. There's nothing magical about the conference in and of itself that is bearish, but rather it is the perception of what will happen. The conference is supposed to be so bullish. The conference is supposed to be so great. So the perception is, man, the Bitcoin conference, everything should go up. So in fact, with manipulation, it does the exact opposite. Well, guess what's come in at this point now? Now, even if you're newer to the, is it still going? Oh, yeah, it's going in and out even on my end here, T-Stream. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what this end of the stream looks like. But anyway, what I'm saying is, if the perception now is up, here we go, another Bitcoin conference, we have to crash in price. Remember, what causes prices to crash historically at Bitcoin conferences is going against perception. But if the mainstream perception is that we should be falling during the conference, don't be surprised if it does the exact opposite. Why? Because that's the whole role of the manipulators, to do the opposite of what people think is going to happen. Just going to throw that out there for you guys to chew on, and maybe give you a little bit of two sides of the coin to think about when it comes to the conference. Listen, I'm also the guy who, when it's time to be bearish and everything's going too good to be true, I will tell you guys for certain price is going to go down. And I've been right pretty much almost every time during this bull market, save for the first major big move up there. I'm bullish right now. I think that does go into that goes into something that Tim Warren, who literally 3 months ago was called a perma bear, is saying this could be a great buying opportunity. With that said, though, T-Shroom, Lord willing, the internet stays with us on it. Let's go ahead and take a look at some altcoins really quickly, and then we'll get into some Q&A and our factoid of the day. But really quickly, before we do that, I wanted to let you guys know the sponsor of today's video. Make sure to go check out Houdini Swap. If you want to transact your cryptos fast and as cheap as possible, and at the same time do it while valuing your privacy as an individual, one of the biggest things that crypto was supposed to bring us in the first place, Houdini Swap is the place for you. You could literally swap pretty much anything for anything for the cheapest possible price. Go check out the link down below. Start using them today. Also, take a look at this cool website. I mean, there's some crypto projects out there that really need some more development when it comes to their websites. This is one of the coolest ones I've seen with a lot of cool features. Hit the privacy button. Start swapping today using Houdini Swap. Let's check in on some of our favorite cryptos. Got to start off with Chainlink. Chainlink here on the daily chart did exactly what we told you it would do earlier this week. What was that? We would rally up here closer towards 1450. I think we got to about 1462, right? So we were a little low, but close enough for government work. And we've talked about the government a lot today. We rejected on that red cloud right there. That's the daily smart trail and this bearish breaker block here, not bearish breaker block, excuse me, order block in play. And now we're heading back down to the downside. At the same time, we were not necessarily overextended, but definitely showing a little bit of sign of strength when it comes to the RSI, the MACD, definitely coming up here and giving us a little bit of bearish divergence here. Same thing with our Lux Algo oscillator. So on the daily chart, I'm not necessarily bearish here. I want to make sure people understand I'm not saying that Chainlink's daily value is over. We have a long way to go to the upside. In fact, we could get all the way to 1670 before we really have a problem. But it was a temporary time to come up, hit some resistance, and fall back down to the downside. However, the question everyone is probably asking, all right, fine, where are we purchasing Chainlink then? Let's go to the 4-hour chart and check in on what's happening. Sure enough, you guys could see even if I turned off Lux Algo, it doesn't take a charting genius to see that this blue line in play right here, around $13.40, this is a former level of resistance. Now, the zone could fall even lower towards $13.25, but as a whole, this zone is a level of resistance. I can kind of extend this line out here. It's not abnormal whatsoever for the price to hit resistance and come back down to test former resistance as support. When I turn on Lux Algo to find some confluence in here, we first of all have our 4-hour smart trail up here towards the blue line of 1340. You also will see a bullish breaker block that could bring us down closer towards $13.17. Am I confident we get all the way down into this yellow box? No, I'm not. So for that reason right now, my purchase, and I'm willing to have a little bit of volatility and go a little bit lower, but I'm looking for a purchase right here around $13.35. Again, if Bitcoin has maybe about another $1,000 to drop in the next couple of days, it would not be hard whatsoever for Chainlink to take at least a little spill right here of another 1%. Again, would not be surprised to see a lower price come into play, maybe down here towards 1317, 1350 with like a 3% dip. But for me, I'm looking at Chainlink right now saying we are very close to a good level of support. Getting in on another dip here, buying this dip is a good strategy for me. Again, let's go 1335, give or take, is a good buy order for Chainlink. Long term, still extremely bullish on it, guys. I know a lot of people are going to be giving up. People are freaking out. They want to see bullish price action. If you're losing, if you're getting weak hands and you want to sell, I can't blame you. If you want to do that, go for it. But I'm telling you, long term, we are still in a very bullish pattern right here with a falling wedge that when it breaks to the upside, it will get explosive. You don't want to be the person that sold the bottom. I am not your financial advisor, but I am here to tell you I'm going to continue to hold, and I would think if you want to make money long-term, you should be in the same camp as well. Let's check out another one. People have actually been asking in chat for an update, and I always get away from it, don't get to actually give it, so I'll prioritize this one as our second option, and that would be Polkadot. Polkadot here more recently is breaking out bullishly out of its own daily chart falling wedge pattern. Long term, and when I say long term here, bullish news from Bitcoin could speed this up, but I'm not expecting this price prediction to play out till closer to September. But $12 or just below $12 is back on the table for Polkadot with this more recent breakout of a falling wedge pattern. You can see when we zoom in, we have already broken resistance. We're just in the camp of kind of wrestling with when do we actually want to start the explosive rally. There was a very strong breaker block right in here. That's one of the reasons we rejected on the daily chart. However, it's only a matter of time before that gets broken. Our oscillators are showing us we still have a lot of strength left to the upside. In fact, our RSI I'm loving what we're seeing here. Yes, we're back below it right now, but we're spending a lot more time above the 50 than below it here more recently. That's a sign the bulls are at least extremely close to being back into control. Where are we looking for Polkadot, though, on a downside movement? Are you buying right now? Are you waiting for something later? Let's take a look at what the 4-hour chart is showing us. Now, you're going to see on the 4-hour chart, we actually have a little bit of room before we run back into strong support. And so I'm going to want to take a look at the hourly chart here as well. But again, if Bitcoin were to drop $1,000, and that's going to be a decent little percentage, it's not that crazy. I think Polkadot could fall back down here to support somewhere closer towards $5.80. By that time, I imagine the 4-hour smart trail will have made its way back up here. We have an order block here in play. Could it go a little lower and touch this blue line, retreating as support? Absolutely. Somewhere closer to 565. But I think I'm going to be probably in the safe category of saying we absolutely can hit the take profit on the 4-hour short. We can also hit this order block. That confluence is going to put us right here about 583. On the hourly chart, any support between us and that level? Not necessarily, other than this take profit. Again, no major order block and falling level of support coming back down. So once again, going to be looking for lower levels below $6 once again. We're already at $6.07. Would not be surprised to see Polkadot fall back down to these levels. With that said, though, I gave you guys bearish scenarios. Where am I buying? I'm buying those levels because, again, a lot of bullishness to the upside coming our way. A lot of reasons on the daily, weekly, and others to say big moves are coming, and those moves could take us up to $12 before we hit a major level of resistance where we might get a nice pullback after that level, and then bull market takes over. New highs will come a year from today. That's what we're looking at with Polkadot. Let's keep moving on and check out Cardano. Now, I told you guys Cardano, let's go to the daily chart here. I wanted to see a sustained move above 45 cents. Now, we didn't get the sustaining part of it, but we did get price action briefly just yesterday, did come up and touch 45.7 cents on Cardano. Guess what that has done? Let me turn off our order blocks and breaker blocks. We have turned this daily red smart trail, a signal of whether the bulls or bears are in control. We have turned it back to being blue for the first time since way back here on March 18th. Cardano has been hotly hated on. And here's a good reason why. It's been a very, very poor performing asset since March 18th. However, as I have said several times, and I will say several more times on this channel, price is downstream from fundamentals. And some people are going to try to make an argument with that. My personal belief, and I think if you continue to do your research, there's a lot of fundamental reason for Cardano to still have an uptick in price. And going back to our chart, our long-term price prediction based off of its own falling wedge pattern would send price back up, not to new highs for the bull market. We'll stay modest here. We're just going to talk about a price back up to 68 cents, borderline 70 cents, and then we'll have to reconsider what is happening. But for now, Cardano is heading to the downside, just like the others. Where could we potentially look for a buying opportunity on this pullback? Well, right now, we're wrestling with two levels of somewhat support right here, although this one's going to kind of call as resistance. We're sitting right on top of the 4-hour smart trail here at 42 cents. But I'm going to say here on Cardano, I think we could pull back just a little further. Our oscillators definitely showing weakness, meaning they actually should be turning around coming soon. But there's some room here on the 4-hour chart that does suggest we could go lower. We do have a take profit on the 4-hour coming down towards 40 cents. But let's check out the 1-hour and see if we see any confluence at that level as well. Not necessarily. We're actually kind of running out of real estate here for the hourly chart to be reasonably oversold. So it's saying 41 cents is in the books. I think looking between the 1-hour and the 4-hour, I'm kind of sitting here saying, yeah, I probably want to look for a buy position on Cardano somewhere here above 40 cents, maybe just to make sure it's entered somewhere closer towards 41. Yeah, price could go just a little bit lower than that. That's absolutely something that could happen. But once again, this is a project that when I zoom out here, big moves coming to the upside. I absolutely want to take advantage of that. I also here on the daily chart, you guys will see, yes, we have a pink breaker block that's bearish right above us. But as you can see right here at the bottom of our yellow bullish breaker block, 40.1 cents. Could we come down that far? Absolutely. And we're still bullish on this daily chart with a potential move bringing us closer towards 70 cents. Keep moving on here into what a lot of people, if they hate Cardano, they seem to love this coin. I'm a big believer you can love two coins at the same time, even if the communities kind of argue with each other. Let's take a look at Solana. Solana with big moves here more recently, but once again, hit pretty close to levels we told you would act as resistance around $160 up here at our red smart trail. Unlike Cardano, which has actually turned their daily smart trail blue, Solana technically right now has not had the bulls take back over control. It's coming very, very soon, but we have rejected right here. Long-term breakout and levels I'm looking at for Solana probably getting back up here towards that take profit at 200. I think then we'll have to have a conversation. Do we need to have another pullback or can we rally even higher? Either way, that's an area that I'm looking at. If you're looking for a trade opportunity, not talking about long-term investment for the bull market, I still think we're going over $1,000. But short-term trade, we're looking for a potential buying opportunity and a selling point back up at $200. Where can we possibly see Solana pull back to after hitting this level of resistance? Where's a good buy spot? Well, we're going to see a little bit of support here right down at 153, but I'm a big fan. I think we could come back down here into the smart trail and the take profit here on the 4-hour chart. Look for $146 as a good buying opportunity for Solana. That's what I'm going to be keeping an eye on moving forward. We're going to kind of keep going on with a couple more. But real quick, before we do, let's take a small break. And I've made a colossal mistake, T-Shum. You know what the mistake?
What's that?
I did not bring any water. Ooh. No hydration up into the office. I have an assistant that might be able to help me. Oh, you know what? Hold on. T-Shroom, go to your full screen entertain. I know it. I left it right outside the door. I'm such an idiot. I'm so sorry.
Oh, Tim. We did have an update here. So Bank of England chaps halts global payments. This is probably something that isn't going to affect your crypto portfolio, so it's a good thing to kind of just jump onto. But I think that this system is likely similar to SWIFT, the SWIFT system. The clearinghouse automated payment system. It had some disruptions, and high value and time sensitive transactions were disrupted, including house purchases. The issue affected the bank's ability to process payments, leading to delays. The Bank of England acknowledged the problem and worked with a third-party supplier. Long story short, this could definitely be a lot easier now if I'm at the board of the Bank of England to say, hey, look, what are we doing using this antiquated software? Come on, let's go ahead and get our payments on a blockchain, something like Chainlink, something like maybe AVAX or Cardano or Solana or Ethereum, whatever whoever's going to sell it to the room. That's Tim, did I lose you altogether? It looks like you may have frozen completely. That's not good. That's not good at all. Let's see. Got you back now?
Yeah, it's just internet going in and out.
Yeah, it's strange. We both changed
It's disheartening.
We both changed our setups at the same time, and I think that if nothing else, I think the connections that were happening every single day are they're happening from totally different angles of the internet now, and it's having issues, but.
Hey, we're going to make it through here. We'll find solutions for it. Thank you for everyone who's stuck with us up to this point. You guys know throughout the Wi-Fi things, you're going to get some good alpha along the way. Again, sorry about that, guys. I left my water outside the door. And it's because I wasn't hydrated. I wasn't thinking properly. Make sure you guys go and drink some water. Stay hydrated. It's the number one mistake that traders make is they don't stay hydrated.
That's right.
All right, let's go ahead here. Hopefully we're unfrozen now again. I know the Wi-Fi is crazy. Let's take a look at Ethereum, guys. Now, we are literally days away, less than 1 week away, not only from the Bitcoin conference, but from the Ethereum ETFs being traded live. All right, we've talked about that. We'll detail more about that as we get closer. Let's just talk about price action right now. If we go back to my screen here, T-Shroom, really easy to see where we might be buying here. But again, Ethereum breaking out here more recently of a falling megaphone pattern. If I turn off Lux Algo for a second, you guys can see it's this falling pattern where it's not a channel and it's not a wedge where we're constricting. The volatility was getting more intense. Either way, these break bullishly just like the others. But in fact, this one and I haven't put this line here. There's another line up there from a show that I did yesterday with Stocks with Josh. What was I doing? Why is that line up there by itself? Oh, I know what it is there. We talked about this before. Sorry. On this short term, let's just start here. This would be a breakout prediction back up to the highs we had back in March, back to 4,000, almost 4,100. That's shorter term. This line I'll talk about here in just a second. Actually, let's go ahead and do it. It's there. You might be saying, why does Tim have a random orange line just hanging out in his chart that has a target of $5,600? Well, I actually did a whole video about this, but in case you missed it, let's stop right there. You got who here? Tell the truth. Who here watches the morning videos? I see from time to time people comment underneath the live show saying, oh, bros, this is too long of a video. You need to put out shorter ones. Guys, we do put out shorter ones. And in case you don't know about it, go to my screen here, T-Shroom. This is the Investing Bros channel. And every single morning, I've been putting out some alpha on some good projects. Now, maybe you don't always like the topic, but I encourage you, whether you like the coin or not, take a look at it because I choose these coins for a reason. For example, yesterday, some big moves on XRP, some news that came out, definitely something you want to keep an eye on. Whether you like it or not, if you just want to trade, there's an amazing trading opportunity on XRP this morning, and this is probably one of our lowest performing videos, but it's such a good one. And I'm not saying because I made it, I'm saying because the information that we found, I am very, very bullish on Aerodrome over the bull market. After this live stream is over, go check out our video, Massive Aerodrome Pump Not Over. Guys, there's a legitimate case that $3 could be coming, not at the end of the bull market. I haven't even planned out my end of the bull market price prediction. We could see $3 within the next couple of months on Aerodrome. People don't like it for some reasons with tokenomics and others, but I went in depth on what you should be expecting the tokenomics to look like and potential demand to look like. Go check out that video right after. And again, come watch the shows as well, but we do have our morning videos. You got to check them out. Let's come back over here. I got a little ADHD today, guys. Why are we have a signal up here to $5,600 for Ethereum? Well, it's because of this. We have been a little bit in a rectangle on Ethereum. Yes, we had a little bit higher than this back in March, but as a whole, resistance here just below 4,000, around 39.77, and then several touches of support in the range of 2,800. Well, when you have a channel like this, you take that channel's length, the opening from top to bottom, and you move it over to the breakout spot. This is something that not only did I see, but actually one of the greatest crypto traders I know of, his name's Peter Brandt, he pointed this out on his Twitter or X account just a couple of days ago. $5,600, not just a new high for this market, but a high for Ethereum in its history. If it wants to load here, there we go. A high here for Ethereum as a whole. Where's the target of this potential? Probably before September. And once again, if Bitcoin goes to new all-time highs, maybe 80K, before the end of July, do not be surprised if Ethereum decides to make a little run of its own with that ETF news and just the fact that when Bitcoin moves, it seems like the rest of the space moves as well. So look out for $5,600. But now, where do we go to take a potential buying opportunity? Because we are correcting here a little bit. Let me turn on our indicators. Daily chart. Let me come back over here. Daily chart did reject here off of an order block down below. I'm going to go kind of faster here. Where can we potentially see some buying come into place? Well, there's a couple levels. Let me get rid of this nice box right here. There's a nice smart trail coming in down here at 33.16, but you also could just see a nice little touch right here of coming back down to resistance, former resistance, turn it into support somewhere down in the range of roughly 32.64. Myself, could we see this price come down 32.64? Absolutely. But what did I tell you guys earlier? You don't try to buy perfect. You buy good. Don't try to buy the exact bottom. Buy a good bottom. I'm going to probably choose 33.16 is my buy spot for Ethereum. And whether you want to go ahead and take profit back at the highs of this market at 4,100 or whether you want to wait for 5,600, that's completely up to you. Either one's probably not a bad decision moving forward here with Ethereum future price action. I had two other coins that I want to take a look at, but we have about 10 minutes left in the show, and I want to do some of the coins that you guys want to look at. So before we get there, we have our factoid of the day, and I'm going to announce where our factoid's from. I have no idea what the factoid is, but I want to make sure you guys know. I think we have a lot of you in here that are already a part of our Discord or our Bro Luck Suite. Make sure you guys are in our Discord, whether the free versions or the paid one. There's so much alpha going on over there. Like tonight at 4:45, I will be going live with our VIP trading group to teach more about formations. Last week we talked about triangles. Today we're going to do things like wedges, or not wedges. We're going to do things like megaphones. We're going to do things like channels. We'll do head and shoulders, cup and handles. I'm teaching you step by step how to make sure your technical analysis is top level so that you can start making gains in the trading world. Today, we cover in those memberships coins that are gem opportunities. We cover deep dives so you can learn more about the projects you're investing in, and also just overall portfolio ideation to make sure you have the best potential to make a lot of money. Pro says, please talk about Jasmy. Hey, maybe we'll talk about Jasmy here in just a couple of minutes, but go check out our Discord right now. Link down below. What is our factoid of the day here, T-Shroom?
Tim, the factoid of the day is as follows. What is the population of Milwaukee in 2023?
It was just a T-shirt pause. All right.
5,000.
Population of Milwaukee.
575,000, 700,000, 855,000, or 1.2 million. Tim, what do you think?
1.2 million is a lot, so I don't think that's going to be it. But Milwaukee's a decent-sized city, so I don't think we're going to go with the lowest one either. So I'm going to go ahead and limit it down to B or C. And I have no idea which one, so I'm going to try to think of a reason why I want to go with one over the other. I like sevens. 7 is a good number. It's the number of my childhood favorite football player in the world, Michael Vick. Yes, did he do some things to some dogs that was not okay? Bruh. He did. He did his time. Michael Vick is my hero in the football world. So I'm going to go with a Michael Vick pick. Shout out to college football coming back here very, very soon. W's in chat if you're a college football fan. B, 703,501 people.
Oh, very close, Tim.
Well, yes. There's 2 sevens in there. So Vic didn't fail me. I chose his younger brother, Marcus, I guess, who was number 5. That's not really relevant here. But 7 still worked. My theory worked. I was just off on it.
If you tuned in for the Atlanta Falcons Michael Vick lore, throw one in chat. We're happy that you joined us. Oh, goodness. We're having fun.
I'm assuming that this factoid is due to tonight being the last day of the Republican convention.
That is correct, Tim. And it's taking place in the beautiful American city of Milwaukee. Now, I have actually been to Milwaukee. It's a good time.
Never been there.
It's very like chilly, so it's very cold because it's very north.
Okay.
But yeah, Michigan, Wisconsin's one of Wisconsin's most proud cities. I think it's actually the most populated that's right. Yeah. Most populated as well. So very cool. Let us know. You live in Wisconsin. Do you live in Milwaukee? Milwaukee, pretty cool place. Are you tired of all the Republicans being there? Ready for them to move out? Or do you love the Republican invasion there in Milwaukee?
There we go. All right. Well, let's get into some of our Q&A choices. Jasmy was one. I saw someone said they want to take a look at the XRP chart. I will oblige that one because we have already referenced it and then just didn't look at the chart. Right. Start off with Jasmy here, T-Shroom. Now, Jasmy with a big breakout here more recently and correcting back down to once again a level of support. Here's what I'm going to go ahead and say. Let's take a look at some support. We could come down a little bit lower here, coming back down to the bottom level of this former resistance around 2.5 cents. But what I want to point out to you, whether we correct now or later, you're going to see, whether it's beautiful or not, look at the rumblings that could happen that end up seeing a left shoulder, right shoulder, and left shoulder, head, and right shoulder. If this were to be the case, ladies and gentlemen, we would have, actually, it would make a lot of sense for that to come down to that level. Not that this is how it works out perfectly, but sometimes when you have a sloped neckline, meaning the person probably needs to go see a chiropractor like I did earlier this week, you can see the the shoulders actually be very similar in that slope. So this would mimic a good looking inverse head and shoulders pattern very, very well. Not that this line really matters necessarily. It's just something I like to do for kicks and giggles. The projection of Jasmy, should this breakout be in play, would be a price prediction all the way up here at 5.1 cents, a brand new all-time high for Jasmy. Now, something else we've been watching, but it's kind of out of date because of all this negative price action. We did have a bull flag from way back here in February that could see Jasmy's price go even higher towards 8 cents. But for now, let's get rid of that. I'm going to say what we're looking at right now is a potential longing opportunity in the 0.26 or the 2.6 cent region. Even though it could go lower, you want to make sure you get in on the trade, and a potential take profit in the range of just about at, if not a little bit below, 5 cents for an inverse head and shoulders breakout there on Jasmy. And once again, part of the reason why I'm looking at this is because of what Lux Algo is telling me. Good 4-hour smart trail as support level. Good reason for the oscillator have a little bit more weakness on the 4-hour chart before we reverse. So if you thought the bottom's in on Jasmy, not quite yet, but I think it could be coming here very, very soon. XRP. People asked about XRP. Now, XRP didn't get quite to it, but we talked about the other day this resistance level, not just since back here a year ago in July, but this one goes all the way back to a high we had in April of 2021. And we have ourselves a symmetrical triangle pattern here with XRP. But in the shorter time frames, again, because that breakout of the symmetrical triangle pattern probably will give us some indication of where a top of a bull market could be for XRP. In the short term, whether you like it or not, we tell people all the time, do not trade with your emotions, trade with the charts, and just look at what is happening in the news and what the charts are saying. Well, what is the news saying? Like it or not, we're probably about to see the end of the years-long Ripple versus SEC case. That will be bullish. We're also seeing some breakout momentum here. If you go back to the chart here on XRP, just this formation, this falling channel, could see the price of XRP make a breakout up here, back above $1. And I think the other day I talked about $1.26. It's because I think I moved it down for a potential breakout later on. But looking for over $1, probably sitting closer to $1.20. It's going to be a perfect $1.26. I don't know about that, but over $1.20 could be in the cards over the next couple of weeks or months for XRP, solely based off of some bullish technical analysis. Coming in here and taking a look at what we have as far as indicators. I told you guys that we would reject in this range. We actually rejected at a bearish order block here. So that's Lux Aug who actually giving us a great call of some heavy liquidity in the place that would see a reversal. On the daily chart, we're just going to go ahead and take a look here. 53 cents looks like a potential reversal spot for it. Let's see if the 4-hour chart kind of backs this up and says that that's a good level as well. It's already saying right where we currently are. 56 cents had a nice strong order block. It also has the tip of our 4-hour smart trail here as well. And I don't like what 53 cents is. That's not a very good order block. So are we going any lower in XRP? I'm not necessarily convinced we are. Could we? Yes, we could go lower. 1-hour chart. Let's see if it's got support. Support probably going to be in the range. Yeah, 53, 54 cents. Maybe that's a possibility. Let's see what our oscillators. Now, oscillators on the 1-hour chart flashing overextended, bullish divergence. Wants to reverse the upside. 4-hour chart pretty overextended. Oh, well, it has some room to the downside. But, here we go. RSI bouncing off that 50 level. Listen, could we drop lower in XRP? Yeah, we could. But I feel more confident about breaking to the upside and maybe getting closer to $1 than I do about XRP going much lower. And let's just pretend we can say with a crystal ball it is going to $1 or higher. Do you want to have a problem between 56 or 50 or 43 cents? Like, it's not going to end your trading opportunity. I'm going to probably go ahead and on an XRP long, want to look for a position where we currently are in the 56 cent region. And again, looking for taking profits on a trade over the next couple of weeks, probably in the range of, let's just for kicks and giggles, I don't want to go crazy with it. Let's just take a profit at $1. That'll be psychological. We've been asking for $1 again in the XRP price since all the way back here in November of 2021. Have not seen it. Let me turn off all the madness there from Luxalgo. Have not seen $1 since this peak, December 25th, Christmas of 2021. And for the last 3 years, little boys and girls around the world who are XRP maxis have been asking for that same gift once again. Does it happen before 2024? I think so. If you don't want to hold XRP long term, I'm not telling you to go stuff your entire portfolio with XRP and dump everything else you have. I'm just saying, I think that July is a good month for XRP. I think there's a rally coming. So Tim, the trader, who's going to be unemotional about what coins I'm trading, just looks for the right opportunity. I think there's a good opportunity for XRP. Do with that what you will. What else, T-shirt? We probably have time for one more Q&A, and then we're going to call it a day for today. We're going to let the internet rest. We're going to fix it, and we're going to come back tomorrow with the highest level of professionalism you've ever seen on a crypto channel.
Maybe
last
Render.
point. Render?
Oh, I'm seeing Render in the chat.
Big pullback on Render. You know what big pullbacks mean, T-Shroom?
Buy low, sell high.
Good. I was thinking there was a joke there that maybe you would get the punchline. I didn't have one myself, but I didn't. Sometimes you just gotta throw your buddy a lob and see if they can hit the home run. Mm-hmm. You whiffed. It's okay. I whiffed too. I couldn't think of anything witty at the time. Let's take a look at what Render is doing here. Now, Render pulled back, but Render here hit a long-term support level more recently. Let's go to the weekly chart, take a look at this. See that red dotted line? And red lines are harder to see on black screens. If the, I think you see it. I think I see that red line. Talking all the way back to January of 2023, touching again here in August, all throughout October of 2023. And now, once again, we have come down to this level, and it looks like we are using it as support. I'm bullish on Render here moving forward, but we have pulled back down here this morning, back towards 626. Do we have further to go, or should we move to the upside? Long term, and again, there's no formation here. Let me take a look here real quick. There actually is. There's definitely a falling wedge pattern here in play that you could deal with here. But I don't know about falling wedge. It's actually more like a triangle. I'm going to leave it alone. But there is a level of resistance here. Very clear as day. Once we break that, we will have a sustained move to the upside. Wouldn't be surprised to see price shooting back up here, close to $12 towards $11.89. Longer term, let's just go out to the weekly chart. Let's see if there's anything here. Yeah, order block in play around 1170, 1180, give or take. So that's going to be probably a level I'm looking at Render for a take profit. Where am I looking to buy it, though, is the question. Let's turn on Lux Algo. Rejected on the 4 hour here more recently. We're sitting on an order block. Yeah, I think we could come back down here one more time. Let's see what our oscillators are saying. Room on the 4 hour for sure. Just crossed below the 50. 1 hour. Room to the downside. Yeah, we got room to the downside. We don't have the bullish divergence. The money flow is actually still positive, but we're about to get some crosses here. We could go a little bit lower here. So let's do it, guys. Take profit, 1 hour chart, $6.11. Touching that red line once again. I think 611, good purchase price for Render. If you want to be a little more conservative, not go that low, 4 hour chart, you can get away with 615 and still probably guarantee a good entry in there. Or just go ahead and get it now because that's not that big of a difference where we currently are, especially if we're talking about a potential take profit in the range of 11, let's call it $11 flat, just to not get too greedy. That would be a nice little rally if we purchase right in here, boom, of, a measly little 74%. Throw a 2x on there, that's 140. Throw a 3x on there. Oh, we got over a 3x in play. That would be something mighty here for Render. And you got a lot of room to the downside before you need to have some form of a stop loss. We're closer to that support level than we are the take profit. That's going to wrap up our TA from Q&A today. Nigel Condon saying, thanks, guys. Well, Nigel, thank you for that super chat. I see some other things in chat that you guys are asking. Here's the deal. I feel like we covered a lot of ground today. We did a lot of charts, T-Shroom. Gave a lot of alpha. Gave some great buying spots. Gave some great take profit spots. People still, though, they're still hungry. I see Caspa in here. I see some other coins. Here's the deal, guys. I can only do so much on YouTube, right? We have an hour, and we got to cover some of the biggest stories to make sure you're staying up to date with all of your crypto education. But if you want to go deeper and you want to spend more time with myself, with T-Shroom, with Crux, if you want to get hands-on education, you got to join our Discord. Our members over there are getting alpha every single day. And one of the cool things about being in either the technicals or the pro bros, or if you sign up for Lux Algo, the best indicator in the world, you get access to our VIP trading group. Not only do we do pretty much at this point now daily membership streams. But anytime in chat that you guys at me in Discord and say, hey, Tim, what are your thoughts about Caspa? What are your thoughts about Arweave? What are your thoughts about Ondo? You don't have to wait to a show for me to potentially mention it. I'm going to get back to you as soon as physically possible, but that's for our members only. Check out the link down below. You got 3 different options to sign up today. Do it before spots run out. And I just want to make sure people understand, we've been having conversations, T-Shroom, myself, and Crux. We're doing some math on some things that we do. We can't just let anybody and everybody in. There will become a point where we have to temporarily say, hey, guys, too many members. You want to know why? Because we're not going to just throw you guys in there and just let you go. We want to make sure we're giving you adequate customer service and responding to your guys' requests. That means if there's like 1 million of you guys in there, we can't respond to everybody. There's going to be a cap. Make sure to get in before it is too late. But with that said, smash the like button on your way out. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss our content. Go watch our morning videos, and I'll see you tomorrow. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.
Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros.